Hi guys, welcome to a Sunday Live with me, Clarice. I am just going to give this a couple of moments so that you guys are alerted, and when you guys are present, please, if you could make a comment in the chat and let me know that you're here. That would be great. Just please make a comment in the chat. Let me know that you're here. Let me know that you can hear me. And if you are not able to make a comment in the chat, it is because you need to be subscribed so you can make a comment. So please feel free to subscribe and then make a comment. Thanks, guys. All right, so still sort of waiting for people to roll in. I can see 3 viewers now. Let me know, guys, if you can hear me in the chat. Thank you. We're going to begin in a short bit. And I am just making sure that we've got ample enough of people rolling in before we begin. And yes. I'm wondering if you guys are able to hear me or not. So as you're coming in, just make a comment in the chat. Let me know that you're here. Say hi, say hello. Happy Sunday. I want to make sure that people can hear me before I begin, so if you guys can just let me know in the comments that you can hear me, that would be fabulous, and then I can begin my spiel. Yes, so what I have here on my desk is actually the painting from the July watercolor class that we just did yesterday. Hi Patty, good morning. Can you hear me? I feel like there's a slow trickle today on YouTube. Happy Sunday, Trudy. Just wanted to make sure that people can hear me before I actually start, because I don't want to get into it and then... Oh, fabulous. Good. Thank you. Yes. So this is what we did for the July watercolor class. I just wanted to show it to you guys, let you guys know that if anyone is interested in taking watercolor classes on more than just a fun level, like the fun videos that I put out, that's just for fun and whatnot. These are also for fun, but this is also a little more concentrated effort if you want to make, if you want to learn more and get your creative juices flowing. This is incomplete from yesterday's class. I do plan to finish it. I just didn't have the time yesterday as we were gallivanting. And if you follow me on Instagram, you see my stories. We went to some pretty creative places, lots of cacti over there as well. So check these out. It is on the website. Feel free to get the replay if you want to. And now I'm going to transition into what we are painting today. So today we're sticking with my current series of cacti, and so I have a little bit of a base drawing for myself, just so that while I'm chatting with you guys and while I'm explaining, I don't have to sort of think about where I'm placing things. I have a very basic light drawing for myself. As we start and go along, I think you guys can follow along. We've got a main cactus over here. We've got a small one here with a flower. I am adding our typical loose florals here. These two guys over here are kind of like eucalyptus leaves almost. Again, I don't know the names, guys, so please, for those of you who are in areas with cactus or cacti, feel free to let me know. This over here, I saw this at the watering can, the place that I visited yesterday, which is like a greenhouse. Super cute. It's got little like buds, like round green buds, or they look like peas at the end, and they've got these cute little leaves as well. I don't know what they're called, but they're so pretty, and they kind of just fall. They look like a necklace or like just a strand of beads rather. Anyways, and then I'm also adding some rocks. Never done rocks before, so bear with me. We're all going to be doing this together for the first time. So there we go. Just reading the comments really quickly before we begin. Hi, Penny. Glad you're here. Thanks for making the time. Patty, I'm glad you enjoyed the class. Looking forward to seeing what you did. Hi, Kathy. Cigarro, one of my favorites. Oh, that's interesting. Are we referring to this guy right here as the Cigarro? Not quite sure, but we'll chat later. Let me get right into the painting for now. You guys can chat amongst yourselves. Oh, string of pearls. Okay. I mean, that's easy enough, right? Okay, so very quickly, here's what I'm using for my supplies. I'm using my, give me a second to turn off my phone so that it doesn't make noises. I'm using my Legion watercolor paper, 300 GSM. For colors, I will be using my White Nights Setup 36, and I'll tell you exactly what colors we're using in a bit. I've got my palette here by Lisi Arts. I know it's a little bit messy, but we're using similar colors, so it's okay. I've got 3 sorts of brushes, brushes / pen that I have. I'm using the Princeton number 6 round, and then the miniature Zen Art Supplies number 1. And then I'm keeping this glass pen that I got off Stationery Pal. And this is going to help us do the details on here. For those of you who've been doing the videos over the last 2 weeks, we've been using the glass pen to add detail to our cacti. So we're continuing on in that trend. I've got water ready, I've got paper towel ready, and yeah, and I got you guys ready. So we are literally good to begin. So now let me walk you through colors that I'm using. So for the cactus, we're going to be using 2 kinds of greens. If you watch the first video, the cactus video that I've done, my whole concept is using 2 colors to sort of bring out and keep with that loose feel and style of watercolor. So I'll give you guys 2 options to use. Feel free to go with the flow, either the 2 options I give you or do your own. So the first option is where we do a base of chromium oxide, and then while it is semi-damp, we go in and add green. The second option is to do a background with emerald, and then again, while it is damp, go in and add some green. They give you 2 very sort of different results. The emerald is a little bit brighter, and then, yeah, so I mean, I guess watch them on the side if you must. So that's what we're doing for our green areas of the cacti. For the flower, I am looking at cadmium red light and a combination of cadmium medium. And then we'll also have, because we've got some base, I've left these blank. These are going to be some nice loose florals that I normally typically do. So I'm looking at either, I think, a combination of ruby carmine or maybe even carmine and cadmium medium, just to sort of tie all the colors in nicely. And for the rocks, I am looking at a little bit of English red with perhaps maybe like Mars brown, or even burnt sienna and Mars brown. Let's play around with it, or even burnt umber, some sort of brown. Okay, so that's that, and let's begin. Okay. Make sure that you guys are able to see. And what I will do is zoom in just so you can see a tad bit better. And now we are ready. So we're going to start off with painting. I would like to start off by painting the flowers first, and then do the green, just so that I don't get too much green at the top. I'd like my flowers to be looser. So we're going to start off with getting some color mixed up using the miniature brush, and then we'll get looser details with the number 6. So I did mention we're using cadmium red light for this guy with a combination of the cadmium medium. So my technique here will be going in with a loose light rendition of the cadmium lemon, which is right here. And then I'll go in with this to get some of the cadmium red light, and that's going to give us the detail in it while it is semi-damp to kind of give us a nice blend happening. And now feel free to do these like any of the flowers that I've done in some of my other videos if you guys are privy to that. So I'm going to start off by using the tip of my brush, and I've already drawn a circle here so I know exactly where the center is for this, and I'm going to be painting around it. So starting off, painting loose strokes over here just for the background petals, leaving a white space in between, and then as I come to the side, I'm going to make these petals longer, and I'm leaving white space in between these guys. So I'm making this not like a rose, but more like painting it in like a 5-petal flower, but with several more, as opposed to just 5 petals, if that makes any sense. Now I'm going in, making sure that it's still nice and damp, because now we're going to go in with the cadmium medium red, cadmium red light, and using this brush, we're going to go in and add some detail to this. So detail looks like me just adding a couple of strokes just on the center, adding some strokes in between the petals here to kind of really make it stand out so that one petal stands out from the other. And the reason I'm going in right now is so that I can get a nice damp gradient kind of effect happening, because the area is still damp and the color will blend in nicely. So just fussing around a little bit to get those nice loose strokes in. Getting some more of that cadmium red light and just really intensifying the center. And then if you want to add a couple of strokes around just to kind of make it softer, make it fuller, make it look like there's more of this color happening around, that's also nice. I like to do a little bit of fluffing, and by fluffing I mean just adding a couple of looser looking dots around, just indicating, you know, more detail in the background. Get a little bit of that cadmium red light, the yellow, which is the medium yellow, and I'm just adding a couple more strokes, fluffing up my flower nicely. Now that I have that, I am going to leave it for it to dry, and we can go in later on and just add a little bit of black around the center to sort of make it pop. let's move on to the other two flowers that we have here. For this one, feel free to make it more like a rose if you would prefer to do a rose. Use your discretion, I would say. I'm going to go with the flow, and I am somewhere in between a rose and just like a poppy sort of flower. Let's just see, because there are areas for two here. So I'm going to start off with the first one, and I think I am feeling the rose. I think I will go with the rose first. And just like I mentioned, I'm going to be using a combination of carmine and cadmium medium lemon. And I think that would also transition into like a nice, pretty coral, if I'm not mistaken. So first I'm doing my base, which is going to be a light version of this color. So I'm just going to do very loose C strokes around here. Get a little bit of that lemon. I'm like fluctuating with color over here on my brush, because while this is damp, I would like for there to be a lot of blending happening on a lighter scale. And then I'll go in with this brush right here and get some nice detail strokes, on a darker hue happening. So you can see how it's more of a what's it called, a coral, light coral at the bottom here, and I'm actually going in and adding, because it's damp, I'm adding some nice carmine in there, so it gives it that shadowy sort of look as it's touching this flower here. And then again, taking more of a lighter yellowy hue, I'm just going to lightly touch up the top. I'm not going to fill it up too much. I'm going to leave a lot of white space just so we can get that nice, maybe the light is hitting the flower sort of look. And then fluffing the edges, just like I mentioned for the other flower over there. And now we're going to go in with this guy right here, and I'm going to get more of my carmine and just intensify the center with a couple of tiny C strokes so it can give it more depth. And then just it'll make it pop out some more on the sheet of paper. I'm going to touch up the center some more so I can get a nice intense sort of beautiful blooming center. So I'm very intentionally placing these strokes, making sure that I am not covering up the white space that I have. And then I'm slowly kind of going to the edges and adding a couple of more strokes to kind of really tie it all in. And that is it. I'm not going to add any more at the top. I'll leave that for now. Going back in with my number 6, I've washed off most of the color and I've dabbed this on my paper towel just so I can smoothen out some of these strokes. Just add a couple of loose carmine color at the top as well. And that's that. So we'll leave this as is, and we're moving on to the next flower over here. For this one, so we've got some nice bright colors happening here. So for this one, let's go with the whole 5-petal sort of poppy kind of flower. And let's make this one the cadmium red light. So I'll use the number 6. I'm going to get some of the cadmium red light and mix some of that in my pre-mixed color here. My brush out of my hand. And I think I'll blend this in with a little bit of the carmine in there. So holding my brush slightly at an angle, I'm going to start painting the background petals first, and I want to make sure that the center is around here. So there we go. There's one stroke. Dipping the tip of my brush in water, I'm going to go ahead and do another stroke over here. And then we're just kind of going to go around like this by doing these, whatchamacallit, comma strokes. So these petals look like they are kind of upward-ish. I'm going to dip the tip of my brush in some of the carmine just to get a little bit of that happening around here in these strokes. And then dipping the tip of my brush in water to get a lighter hue. I'm going to get some more of that carmine and just add a couple of loosey strokes around here. So now this flower is evolved from a, what was I saying, poppy, to, I guess poppies, there are some poppies that have multiple layers too, so I guess that would still work. Getting some water on my brush to make a looser, sort of lighter stroke. And then again, getting more color off my brush to get a dark to light effect here with what we're doing with the flowers. And then tiny little dots, like I mentioned previously. Trying to get a little bit more of that carmine happening on my brush so we can get a nice transition with the two. And get some more carmine on my number 6. And then I'm just going to add it to the center. Still too much water, so I'm dabbing my brush on my paper towel. Trying to get just the carmine. And I'm also trying to see if I can get some of it blending into this petal, the petals that we've painted. And then just dotting it as we go around at the bottom here. Moving it like that. I'm going to take my miniature brush. I'm going to get some of my, actually, let's wash it first because it's still got some previous color on here. I'm going to get some of the cadmium medium lemon, and I'm going to add a couple of dots of that in here. Now I say dots because we already have rivers of that, the carmine in there, so I don't want to oversaturate things. I'll leave it that way, let it dry for now. It looks to be pooling just a tad bit, so I'm just going to take paper towel and lightly dab so that it can absorb excess water, and then leave it that way. So that's this for now. We can now tackle the cactus. So for that, like I mentioned, you have two options. We're gonna do a base painting of one color and then go in with a second color and get some nice shading detail happening. So I would like to try the emerald because I almost never use the emerald. Feel free to use the, I mentioned you can use the olive green and then go in with the dark green. So I'm going to use the emerald first. Wish me luck. I hope I like it. I hope it's not too bright because I always feel like the emerald is so bright. And here we go. Me mixing the emerald. Now you want to get a consistency of maybe like 30-70, I would say. And then we're going to go in with like a 60-40 for green to do our little lines. And actually what I would do for this part is I'll introduce the number 8. So I'm going to use the number 8 silver black velvet, and then I'll use the 6 to do the lines just so that we can get more coverage with a larger brush. So just mixing some more color. And then mixing some of the green. Now we're going to wash off the number 6 very carefully because it's fine. Get some of that green on here. Okay. All right, let's do this. See how this works. Okay. So getting some of the emerald. I want to get some more. I'm going to go ahead and start painting it. No need for white space if you don't want any. There we go. I'm going to get some water on my brush and do another stroke, having it going all the way sort of down. Getting another stroke of color on my brush. And I am pulling this all the way down again. Sort of interfering with the second cacti, but that's okay. We'll paint over that. And I'm just adding more water here so that it is still damp when we get back to it for our dark green. So one thing I want to mention as well is less strokes the better. So make sure you're not going over it several times. Now I've taken some of the green and I'm just adding it to the top of the cactus and slowly sort of dragging it down so we get some hints of it. But this is where we go in with our green. I'm going to take my number 6. I'm getting some nice amount of green on there. And we're going in and we're painting, bringing down the color in sort of like stripes. And then I want to collect all the dark color at the bottom here. So I'm kind of pushing some color down around here, and we've got our roses here, so kind of like make it loose but at the same time giving good enough detail. I'll just add some here to this edge. And there we go. We've got this nice sort of bright green happening. I'm just kind of helping this along around this flower here. And then I'm going to add some more green just here so that we've got a nice sort of shadow feel in this area. I'm going to add a couple of strokes in this area here where we've just added this green. And maybe just a tad bit over here, helping it along. Because now is the time to add your color so that you get a nice blend. If you want to intensify things, so on and so forth. And then I'm just taking this brush to sort of lightly smoothen this section out. And this, and then sort of bring it down, make it a little more even. I've taken away all my white space. I'm okay with that. All right, so now that we have this, let's move on to doing the little arms. I am loving the intensity of the green against the emerald. It is so pretty. I'm gonna get my emerald now. And we're doing the same thing for the arms, okay? Here we go. And dampen this area because again we're going in with the next brush to add our detail. And then I would like to add more of that dark shadowy effect over here on this side too because there's a flower. And then just sort of dabbing this green here so I can get it to blend in around this arm. And then just taking this brush and kind of pulling it along, helping it along. There we go. I'm just gonna get more of this dark green. And clearly I didn't go back in to add more water, so what I'm doing is for the base, for the emerald, so I'm just going in and getting some water right now to kind of really blend it in nicely, give us that nice gradient look. Intensify things. Okay, and that's that. I'm not going to do anything else more for that. We're going to move on to this arm right here. Hi Lisa, the dark green is called green. It's from the set of White Knights. And here we go for the second arm. And now this time I'm going to like really make sure it's nice and damp around here, so when I go in with the green it'll still be nice and damp. So here we go with the green. Our strokes or stripes. And then really pushing all the dark green to this area here because this is where the arm connects. So you can get away with the color hanging out there. There we go. And then going back in with this, and I'm going to, you're welcome Lisa, I'm going to blend this in. Lightly pull it down. We're good. Okay, now we've got this guy to paint right here. And so at this point, I guess if you want to switch it around and do the, I think I will switch it around just to kind of get a different look. So I'm going to switch it around. Instead of emerald for the small guy, I'm going to use the olive green. So here we go. And I'm going to stick with the dark green for the detail. So here's my olive green. Hi Anne-Marie, hi Anjali, hi Lollipop, hi Andy, hi Caddy, or Katie. I'm just realizing so many people have joined in and said something and I completely missed it. Alright, so here we go with the olive green. I really like olive green. These warm colors are really doing it for me. We're pushing down all the water to the bottom. And now I'm going to go in with this dark green and add our strokes. Add some just over here on that side too. I want to get a thicker stroke in there so that it blends better. So that's why I went back in. Same here. And then same here. So what I'm realizing is now that we've done, or I've done the 2 videos with the cactus on this YouTube channel of mine. So if you're new, if you've not checked it out, check it out. I find it's a lot easier for me to do these because I know exactly how the colors mix and how they flow. So for those of you new to watercolor, practice really does help, and experimenting really does help too. Just going back in with the number 8 and I'm smoothing out this guy here, or these lines here. Get a nice blend. And yeah, he really pops out in comparison to the other guy there. So I do want to make sure that they don't, I did want to make sure that they don't sort of blend in. So this is perfect. And then I'll go in with the green. And I am going to go ahead and add like a shadowy sort of detail at the bottom here. So I'm just kind of lightly dabbing this at the very bottom. And the reason it's giving me that nice blend again is because it's damp. And so it is really blending in nicely with the colors, which is perfect. That's what I wanted. And I'm just lightly pushing all the color down so that it settles at the bottom. And then, yeah. Done. Okay, so we're done our flowers, we're done the cacti, and now we can focus on doing some of the tinier details and leave, actually no, let's do the rocks first and then leave the tiny mother of pearls and eucalyptus style leaves for the very end. So washing off my brushes, I'm going to get, thank you Samina, I'm going to get some of the colors we spoke about. So I spoke about using Mars Brown or English Red and a little bit of burnt sienna maybe. So a brown. Use a brown that you have is the bottom line. I am also going to just quickly make sure my brush is clean. Awesome. So here's how we're going to tackle these rocks. I'm going to try and keep them loose because we've got a lot of like special detail happening in the actual main focus here, which is these guys. So I'll mix a little bit of the burnt umber. Oh, sorry, I got a little bit of burnt sienna instead of umber. Here's burnt umber. And I'm going to do a very light wash of burnt umber, and then taking my miniature brush, I'm going to use, add some detail using the burnt sienna. So again, a light wash, nothing too heavy, so that we can go in on top and add a little bit of detail, okay? So I'm going to paint this first one here, and I'm going to leave the top of it open as in, actually, before I do that, what I want to do is make sure that the top of this is nice and smooth, so we know that's where the rock is. Perfect. Now I'm going in with this, and I'm going to lightly spread this around. I'm leaving a little bit of white space there, and then pushing all of this down towards the flower, pushing all the color towards the flower. And giving a little bit of a wave to the bottom of this rock, because they're not typically straight, right? So that's what I'm doing, pushing all the color down this way, okay? And then we're going in with the miniature, oops. Going in with the miniature brush and getting some of the burnt sienna. And I'm going to lightly add a couple of dabs off to the side here. It's brightening things up a bit. But what I want to do is actually make this area darker and then just add some detail as we sort of go out on this rock here. So I'll probably even mix a little bit of the Mars brown right now just to get a slightly different look, color or hue of brown. So getting a little bit of the Mars brown on the tip of my brush, I'm going to add a couple of dabs here. And then just a little bit at the bottom. So we get that nice shadowy effect. And then just kind of tapering off. And then going back to get some of that burnt sienna. Yes. I'm going to add dabs of this around this area. And you can even maybe do it in like lines. And you can pull some of the Mars brown that we just add. And just kind of give it some nice detail. Loose detail without really going all out. Now, if what will happen if your area is still damp is that it's just going to blend in with the color or the water right away. So maybe wait for it to dry up a bit and then go back in. I'll leave that up to you to decide. But you get the idea. This is pretty much like what I was thinking of doing. In fact, I would even probably go in and just kind of try and take off some color at the top. Just to see if I can get a little bit of discoloration happening so it can indicate the wear and tear in our rock. So feel free, like the concept is, you know, shadow area, light area at the top, details over here, make it happen. Okay, so now we're going to do the same thing for this next rock. I'm going to leave the top very sort of open here. And I'm lightly adding a light base to it. And then I'm going to get some of the burnt sienna, and I'm going to get some of that burnt sienna right at the edge so that it seeps in nicely. How are we doing so far? Are you guys following along? Thank you, Samina. So I'm not giving detail for this just because I've already mentioned how you do that with the top guy over here. So same sort of deal. Just do it down here. Awesome, Patty. That's what I want to read. I was wondering what you were doing. Are you also going rogue or not really? Love it. Okay, I'm not going to do anything else to it. So we've got 3 rocks here. Same deal all over again. So what had I used? Oh yes, burnt umber for the base. Oh, and pushing all the color to the flower area. I didn't leave any white space here. Probably should have. Just wipe off some of the color, why not? And that will help. Yep, it did. I'm just adding some of the, what was this? This is Mars Brown. And then just a little bit of the burnt sienna as well. I have a question about using chalk pastels. Do you mean using chalk pastels to create what I'm creating right now? I mean, yeah, you can paint this in with any medium really, acrylics as well, gouache. I'm not sure if that's what you're asking. I'm just smoothing this out now just so I can get a blend. There we go. I'm obsessed with darkening edges, if you didn't know. That's why I'm kind of going back and darkening this again. Okay, no more darkening. We're going to move on to the last two, and then we are done. What is the difference between using colored pencils and pastels? Massive difference, because they're two completely different mediums, and I don't specialize in them, so I can't quite give you a proper detailed explanation. But pastels are more oily, and colored pencils are just like colored pencils, right? So the blending style would be a little bit different. I mean, obviously you would blend the same way, but the effort you would make to blend for each would be a tad different, because they're so, like, this is watercolor, right? This is water-based stuff. Those are dry. But yeah, you could totally take what I'm doing here and try it out with that, and I'm pretty sure you could get similar results. The whole thing is all about experience. How often do you use them? Do you know how to blend properly? There's so much involved. So yes, you can absolutely do this with any of those mediums. It all boils down to your, I guess, experience level. Nothing better than experience itself when it comes to really anything in life. So that's my 2 cents. I hope that was helpful. Okay, one last one, and then we are doing the class pen. So I'm doing the same. The reason I'm not really explaining too much is because I'm doing the exact same thing that I've been doing since the first rock over there. It's a smaller scale, so I've not been saying too much. And then again, if you want to do a little bit of fluffing, like adding a little bit of tiny little sand-like elements, if you want to, at the bottom, that works. So it doesn't look super perfect. You can get a nice loose sort of feel to your painting. Oh, Anne-Marie is cooking dinner. What's for dinner, Anne? I know I'm very nosy, but I love food, so now that you've shared your cooking dinner, you must share what you're cooking. I just realized I had one more walk here, so I'm going to do that one real quick. There we go, Patty. I like your advice. Ooh, chicken casserole and rice. Yummy. Can I also come over to eat since you guys are having a dinner party now? Green salad, yes. Sounds really nice. Okay, so we've done majority of the items. Let's just do the green leaves and then we can wrap up with doing the details for the cactus with our glass pen. Yeah. Okay, so for these guys, I'm going to use my chromium oxide green. Holy Anne-Marie, that sounds like such an amazing spread. You've got, oh wow, rucola spinach with lemon. Sunday meals are always amazing, I have to say. Okay, so I'm getting some of the oxide green using my miniature brush. And I'm going to go ahead and start painting. Now we want it to be damp enough so that when we lift our hand off, we can go in with some darker green to add a tiny little bit of detail, not too much. So here we go. In fact, what I'm going to do is just outline these guys, give it a little bit of color, and then I'm going to go in with another miniature brush, or you can use the number 6, and with just water on this, I'm going to smoothen this out. And now what is happening is that it is giving me a nice dark to light sort of effect in a shorter amount of time. I'm going to do the same thing for, I'm just going to go in with a darker green actually, just a little bit to add while it is still damp. I'm just lightly dabbing it along. There we go. Okay, so now back to the next one. Let's do this one, and then we'll go back to this. Some of these guys have a nice hint of like a coral or a pink. So if you're feeling motivated and you would like to do that, I would say go for it. So I'm going to try it with this guy right here. Let's just see how that works so you guys can have an idea of what I mean. So lightly having this chromium oxide green. And then I'm going in, washing off the color, smoothing it out. So I get a nice blend. And then I'm going to get a little bit of the cadmium orange. I'm just going to add a couple of dabs. In fact, you know what, maybe even like the burnt umber if the cadmium orange is too much. I'm just adding some of that color in there to kind of have a nice spread. And then I'm going to get a little bit more of the green, which is like a nice dark hue. And because it's nice and damp still, I'm just going to add a couple of strokes. In and around the area. I'm just smoothing it out as well, a little bit. All right, perfect. So now we've got 2 more, and then it's on to the detail. Okay, so for these 2, I'll just use the plain green, which is the dark green we've been using. And we'll start off with this right here. Lightly painting this in. Dipping the tip of my brush in water just to get a nice lighter green for the green leaves, or more muted green, as opposed to the potent dark green that we currently have. Then I'm lightly creating the pearls. I'm leaving a little bit of white space in them. Doing the end leaf and trying to make it, give it a little bit of movement by making it look like it's twirling. I'm going to do one more of these pearl things. Oh, and then one of the pearls is missing the stem, so there we go. Sweet. So at this point, if you want to add a little bit of darker detail, just take a little bit of that color, the green, and just dab it in the areas. I'm just adding just a tad bit, nothing too crazy. Perfect. Oh, I need to change batteries really quickly. And we're back. Okay, so the last guy over here, and then we are done. So again, the same detail. You can mix a little bit of the greens if you want something to stand out, or just to have a different variant of green. I'm going to move this guy over like this, making sure I've got enough color. Trying to leave a little bit of white space in between our leaves. I am. You don't have to if you don't want to. All right, that's it. No more. So that's that for that. And let's prep this, and then we are pretty much done. So I like to use this to get the nice little pricklies all around. And so you can either choose to do the dark green, or if you want to use a gold, that's an idea. Just to sort of make it, if you're, I don't know, if you're making this a card or a gift or whatever, that would be nice. Yeah, I don't know. So I'm thinking, because I've got a lot of dark green happening here already, I think I will use the gold and just highlight the pricklies in it. Let me know in the chat what do you guys think, and accordingly I can do so. Patty, I'm so glad you like what you did. I can't wait to see what you did, honestly. Okay. Anyone have any comments on what to use to create the rest of it? No, no one is saying anything. Okay, so I think I will go with you know what? I'm gonna go with, oh, okay, there we go. Patty says gold. I'm gonna go with gold. Let's mix some of the KMS C3PO. So here's how I use the glass pen. So I get the color activated on a nice thick brush so I can get lots of it. And then add it, just kind of brush it along here and rotate. Oh, Anjali finished. Okay, well, Anjali, you know what to do. Tag me on Instagram or send it to me on Instagram. I want to see. I want to see what you guys do. And I would love to share it in my stories as well. So if you do tag me in your stories, I will reshare. Okay, so here we go with the little prickly. So I'm going to do the outsides first. And actually, before we do that, I need to make sure the tip of it is also nice and damp so that it pulls down nicely. Otherwise, sometimes it kind of just gets stuck there. All right. So we'll do the outsides first. I don't even know if you guys can see this. Oh my gosh. Let me really bend this low. So I'm doing them super long and a little bit of overlapping. Oh, this is beautiful. I love it. Can you guys see that? I'm not sure if you can, but I'm just doing like 3 little lines. Adding some in the shadowy areas too, why not? Because it really stands out so beautifully. Here. You see it? Isn't it pretty? Wow. I'm liking it. Okay, so we'll do the bigger guy now. This golden emerald or golden green is just a stunning effect in my opinion. Okay, I need to add more color. More gold needs to be added. Resting my brush down. And then just going for it. I need more gold. Okay, let me just load up properly. You guys can get a nice close-up view of the painting. Yeah, the close-up you can see it better, right? It is quite pretty, I have to say. I'm sitting at a, well, obviously I'm painting it from, viewing it from like a slant, and so you can see it so much better in comparison to like the camera. But just as long as you have a visual idea of what it looks like and you can run with it for your own painting, that's good enough for me, as long as you guys can see. And I'm not going to do this all over. I think I'm trying to do it sporadically so it's evenly sort of spread out. Let me just try and move this a little so you can, so I can paint better and you can still see. Yeah, this gold is stunning. Do a couple over at the top and then we are almost done. Oh, I love that, Lisa. I'm glad you're getting inspiration for early Christmas cards, because that is the idea. Every time I do a video, I always think to myself, someone will look at this and get some inspiration for a birthday card or a Christmas card or something, as opposed to just, or maybe just even a practice if you're new to watercolor. But I like to take the practice and make something nice, whether it's a gift or, you know, the gift that keeps on giving. Gives you practice, gives someone else something nice and memorable from you with a personal touch. All right, I think this is good enough. Oh, one last thing that we didn't do. Anne-Marie, yes, please. Since we cannot come over for dinner, if you can send a picture of the dinner, that would be lovely. We didn't do the center for this guy right here, so I think it would be nice to do gold, but as I'm looking at it right now, this is a lot of gold. So it would be nice to maybe just keep it, either keep it white or maybe add black or like a dark hue. Yeah, but it's not that big a deal. I don't want to prolong this video. We're already at 1:13, and yeah, so this is it. I'm going to leave it like this, and hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know in the comments what you thought, and then also, please, if you've enjoyed this video, hit the like button and consider sharing this online. It really does help my channel grow, and also remember to subscribe. If you're new to the Cactus and you're looking to do a little bit of practice before doing something like this, check out the last 2 videos that I posted on the channel, and you should be able to see, you should be able to get some sort of practice in before you tackle this. Outside of that, guys, follow me on Instagram and Facebook and tag me in your work. I would love to see how you do. And that's it. Hope you guys have a lovely, lovely Sunday. And I'll see you guys for another Sunday live. Not next Sunday, but the Sunday after next. All right. Thanks, guys, for watching. We'll chat soon. Bye. Hi, Laura. Bye, Laura.